What's going on YouTube? Back here with another video today. In today's video we're going to be working on our new 40-gallon breeder build, and the first thing we're going to do with that is build a stand. I'm going to show you guys how to build a DIY stand using 2x4 pieces of plywood. It's a super common thing to do, and it is pretty much the go-to method to make a cheap and super effective stand. So in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to do that. Our personal build is going to be a peninsula style tank, but I'll also show you how to build the stand as if you're not doing peninsula style tank. So let's go ahead and get into this. All right, so this is our current 40-gallon breeder. It is a lightly mixed reef tank at this point. The lights just turned on, so everything's just now coming out of retraction. But it's a mixed reef 40-gallon breeder tank. This is our current build, but the silicone is peeling on the inside and the tank is just aged. So we're using this as an excuse to start a brand new build. So what we're going to do is I plan on making a peninsula style reef tank right over here. It's going to sit right there so you can see through both sides of the long sides of the viewing panes. I think a peninsula style will be really neat. So today we're going to build our own stand out of 2x4s. It's a super common way to do it, extremely easy, and when done it will be very sturdy. You'll be able to put a car on this thing. As you can see, we built our own stand last time as well. All 2x4s. We left little viewing panes on the side and all kinds of stuff, but at the time I wasn't into doing videos, so I didn't do a video on that. So I figured, why not start doing videos with a new fresh 40-gallon breeder build. You guys can follow along, take some ideas from it, all that good stuff. So today we're going to be showing you how to build a DIY stand. It's super easy. So I'm going to go ahead and start building this. Basically some of the materials you're going to need. You're going to need 2x4s. I think we have 9 8-feet pieces of 2x4s. Cut them up to your appropriate cuts. I'll go over that in a little bit. You'll need some exterior wood screws. I went with 2.5 inches long. You can probably get away with 2 inches if you want, but I wanted as much penetration as possible. But these aren't going to end up holding any weight, so it's not super critical. As long as they penetrate into the piece behind it, you'll be fine. I got some clamps just to kind of hold the pieces of wood nice and sturdy where I want them, so when I'm screwing them together they end up going together nice and clean. And then a drill and something to screw your screws in with. Super easy. This is a really easy project. So what you're going to start with is the base. The dimensions are going to be to the size of your tank. I'm going to go ahead and lay that out so I can explain what I mean. Okay, so this is going to be the basic layout of the frame. You're going to make 2 of these, one for the top and one for the bottom. And the reason why I did this, because we're making a peninsula style tank. So basically this area here and this width here is going to be the dimensions of the tank. The tank's going to sit right here on this edge. This area here is just a little extra area where I can drill the sides of the tank and the plumbing can go down through there and into the sump. So that's how that's going to work. We're going to make 2 of these, like I said, one for the bottom, one for the top. So we're going to make the bottom of this, and like I said, if you're not doing a peninsula style tank, what you would do is just cut this piece, end it at the dimension of your tank, and just make a rectangle. So let's go ahead and get this together. I'm going to pre-drill my holes. I have a drill just slightly smaller than the diameter of the screw that's going in. Basically, you'll drill the hole just small and you'll screw the screw in, and that's going to prevent, I mean, technically you don't have to pre-drill the holes. You can just run the screw in there, but there's more of a chance of splitting your wood doing it that way. I like to just drill it small first and then put the screw in it, and there's less chance of it cracking or splitting. But we're going to go ahead and get this screwed together. We're going to make 2 of these, and then we'll come back to you and I'll explain the rest of the process. And real quick, I figured I'd show you guys what the clamps are for. The clamps you can kind of just put on the outside like that and squeeze together, and it holds everything nice and still while you're drilling and screwing. So that really helps hold everything nice. Just make sure the edges are nice and square, nice and straight the way you want them. And then clamp them nice and tight, and it'll hold it still for you while you put your holes and screws in. So that really helps a lot. Okay, so we got our two identical sections made, one for the top, one for the bottom. Like I said, it's going to be the exact dimensions of your tank, or in our case, we did a little bit of extra to allow for the plumbing for our peninsula build. I'll go over both of those measurements and how you can do it at the end. But basically, exact dimensions of your tank, do it twice, one for the top, one for the bottom. And then we're going to go ahead and move on to what sets the actual height. These 4 posts are going to set the height of your stand. So whatever the height of your stand you want it to be, cut those accordingly and attach them to the inside of the frame. Now, after you do that, I suggest only using 1 screw for now, by the way. Kind of leaves a pivot point so you can adjust. So just do it 1. And then what you'll want to do is take these pieces here, and these are going to be what actually bears all of the weight of the stand. So you'll attach a piece to each of the pieces that set the height. You'll attach a piece to the front of those, and then that piece will basically slide right over the top and sit on this. I'll demonstrate that here in a second. So go ahead, attach your legs to the inside of this frame like I said, and then you'll want a piece here in front of all those, and that's going to bear all the weight. I'm going to go ahead and get all this attached. That way we can slide the top on and everything will come together and you'll understand exactly what I'm doing. So let's go ahead and get this all done. Okay, so we got our height setting legs all screwed in the bottom, just 1 screw in each so it can leave some pivot. And then we got our load bearing legs, 1 screwed to the front of each one of them, and then we did 1 on the side. This one probably not really necessary, but it doesn't hurt. Oh, we got a little baby over there. She getting hungry. But anyways, like I said, so we got our height setting legs, our load bearing legs all screwed on. We just put a couple screws in each, just kind of getting it together. And then we'll go back and put a good amount of screws in it. But so that's what we got now. Now I'm going to go ahead, come here. Now I'm going to go ahead and slide the top on for you guys. And this should all come together for you. And there we have it. So you can see this top piece that matches the bottom sits on these legs here. These inside ones are basically just a structural piece. It actually sits on these here, and that's going to be bearing all of the weight. Now we do have these 2 pieces here that we're going to put down the inside just to kind of hold this edge up, but this edge is bearing no weight, so I'm not worried about putting the pieces in between because it's not going to be holding any weight. All the weight is right here where the tank's going to sit, and it's going to work out really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and take the time and go back and put a bunch of screws in this thing because like I said, I just have a couple just kind of holding it together. You want to leave some movement so you can get the top on nice, get everything lined up, and then just screw your life away. Put a bunch of screws. You don't want it to twist or anything, so overdo it if you want. And then we're going to go ahead and do that. We'll come back to you. We'll put the tank on top and kind of finish this up. All right, so we got everything all screwed in. Put a bunch of screws in this thing, and we are good to go. I'm going to see if I can't explain the measurements again, just to kind of clarify things. This top rim is going to be the exact size of your tank. I like to add 1/4 of an inch. That way it's an extra 1/8 inch per side. So for instance, 40-gallon breeder is 36 inches long. So you cut them 36 inches in 1/4. And then same thing with the width, 18 inches wide. So you cut it 18 1/4. Now, these pieces in the middle, of course, you're going to want to subtract the width of both of the 2x4s, which is actually 1.5. So you'll take the 18 minus 1.5 minus 1.5. That gives you 15 for these middle pieces. It's that simple, just a little bit of math. So, exact size of your tank. Of course, our situation, we're doing the peninsula build. So we added 6 inches longer on this. That way we can do our plumbing down into the sump. You do that twice, top and bottom. The height legs are just that, your desired tank height. which I decided on 42 inches high because the tank is going to be right level with my couch. That happens to be 42 inches, so I wanted it 42 inches high. So you'll take 42 inches high, and that's these 4 legs here that go on the inside of the frame that just kind of set your height. Now, these load-bearing legs that go in between, it's as simple as taking your height, you'll minus the width of the 2x4s, which is 3.5, and then you'll have to do it again for the bottom, so minus another 3.5, and that's 35 inches. So these load-bearing pieces are 35 inches long. Now what I like to do is add another 1/4 of an inch, so cut them a little big. I cut them 35 1/4. That way it raises this top piece up a little bit, and these pieces are kind of sunk down. I don't know if you guys can see how these are just shy of being to the very top, and that way they don't interfere with the bottom trim of the tank. See how they're recessed a little bit? That's because I cut these just a hair bigger, 1/4 of an inch, and it pushes this up a little bit since my height was supposed to be 42 inches. So technically the height of the stand is 42 1/4, but I'm perfectly fine with that. That's just the way I like to do it. The top trim, you can also cut a 1/4 inch oversize. Like I said, that way your tank is in a little bit, and then you're pretty much good to go. Now you can set a trimmed tank right on this without any plywood. You can put it right on there, and this will support it because the tank is supported by the trim. But I don't like to do that just because it's not going to be perfect. You can see here that this is a little further down than that. No matter how much you square it up, it's never going to be perfect unless you're fancy and have a planer or something like that, which I don't have. So what I like to do, just to kind of even it out and take the imperfections out of the equation, I like to get a piece of plywood, same size as this here, take some liquid nails. I put a thick bead of liquid nails around the edge, put the plywood on, put the tank on, and fill the tank up with water. And what that does is it pushes down on the plywood, pushes everything down where it's going to be, and kind of just self-levels itself. I'll go over that in another video, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss that, because that's what we're going to do in the next video. We're going to do finish dressing the top with a piece of plywood and liquid nails with my auto leveling method. It works really good. I did it on that tank over there, and it's been 7-8 years now going, so it works really well. Just kind of cuts the imperfections out of the equation. It makes it nice and flat. And then of course we will wrap the stand as well. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do it yet. I have some ideas, but we will wrap the stand, get everything painted, all dressed up nice. But I did just want to do the frame today in today's video, show you guys how to build it, because technically this is it. You could run this just the way it is. This is your stand. But I am going to go ahead, I'll put it in place for you guys. I'll put the tank on it just to help you guys visualize how it's going to be. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. We'll come back to you. Alright, so the stand's in place. As you can see, that's where we want it for now. You can see how the tank fits on it is pretty much exact right where these bars are, just like I said. Worked out really nice and looks really good. I am really happy with that. And now you can kind of see how it's going to work. I'm going to drill into this side here. This will be my background, and then the plumbing will come out and go down into the stand and into my sump. We'll wrap it real nice, paint it, all that stuff, but that's going to be in another video. So I'm really happy with it. Looks nice. We'll probably slide this down and then put that tank over here on this wall. That way to create a nice little L of tanks. All this stuff, basically all my corals and fish from this tank are going to be transferred into this one. We'll do a nice new fresh aquascape with some cool plateaus and ledges and stuff, new sand, and then we'll put those corals and fish in here, and then we'll have to drain this tank and take those rocks out, maybe put them in a Tupperware with some water so they stay live, and then reseal this tank, clean it out real good, scrape all this old seal out, reseal it, and then we'll do something different with that tank, kind of, my wife wants to do like a zinnia only tank, so we do have a lot of zinnia, as you can see. And it's really cool though, because my clowns have hosted it and they just kind of play in it and hide in it. It's really neat. So she wants to do a zinnia only tank. Maybe that's what this tank will be. I'll take all my other, like my torch out. My green finger that is kind of pissed off right now. It's all shrunk, but normally it's pretty big and fluffy. But yeah, we'll see. Not quite sure what to do with it. If you guys have any suggestions, drop them in the comment section below on what we should do with that tank. Also, if you have suggestions about this tank, go ahead and drop them down as well. But like I said, that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Make sure you drop a thumbs up on the video. Help it out. Really helps out get the video out there in YouTube's algorithm. Subscribe to the channel for more. Plenty of fish tank stuff to come between our current reef tank and then the new build that we're going to do. Yeah, all kinds of content to come, guys. Leave a comment down below if you have any suggestions for the new tank build or for what we should do with that tank once we empty it out. Yeah, that's going to be it. So we'll see you on the next video, guys. Later.